Welcome to MTMG's IT Roundtable, where we bring the power of human connections to the tech world. Our experts become part of your team, so whatever tech problem is keeping you up at night, we can help you solve it.
Joining us today is Eric Davies, the founder of DoodlyDog, a website development company known for clear, affordable WordPress solutions tailored for small businesses. With a background in business information, EU policy and legislation, and writing, Eric brings a unique, thoughtful, hands-on approach to solving tech problems that often leave clients overwhelmed or underserved. Eric, thanks so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
So you've had a unique journey from librarian and EU policy communicator to running a website development firm. How did that transition unfold?
With difficulty, I suppose, is this a quick answer. I got a degree in librarianship in 1980 for something called the British Hydromechanics Research Association, where I was an information scientist/editor, and I edited a journal called Civil Engineering Hydraulics Abstracts. It was very, very boring, but because I had to do proper proofreading, it taught me accuracy. And I managed to stand that for 2.5 years. Then I joined the British Standards Institution, where I was in the customer service department, answering telephone inquiries. And that taught me taught me a lot about customer service. But answering 70 or 80 phone calls a day was not my idea of fun. So after a couple of years, I left that. And I joined a local government county council, and I ran a reference library and a business information service. And both of those things were feeding off my learning about accuracy, the customer service. And then I got the opportunity in the late 1980s to join the Wales Euro-Info Centre, which was one of a network of centres established by the European Commission to tell small businesses, SMEs, about the European single market. And it was my job to go out and explain the opportunity of the single market and sell services such as public procurement alerts to businesses in North Wales. I was absolutely useless at it because I sell very badly. But what I did was to learn about policy and legislation. European Union policy and legislation just leave people blank. They have no idea. And yet, once you get into it, because I hated it, there were just rows and rows and rows of pink-spined volumes on the library shelves, and I learned to love them. I knew which were the important ones. I could find things, and I could answer questions. Unfortunately, I was on contract initially for 3 years, and then year on year, which is a precarious living, so I jumped ship. I moved to the University of Hull, where I was also on contract, and I lasted 2.5 years until they told me there was no further job available. But at Hull, I was providing information on the European Union to students. And importantly, I created my first website. I volunteered for an organisation, the European Information Association, which helped librarians, information officers, people who were interested in EU affairs to find out about how the EU worked, to enable them to find information and so forth. And on the back of that, I set up my own business because I was travelling 200 miles or so across the north of England, from North Wales across to the northeast of England, twice a week, once there, once back. It was pretty hellish. A motorway in the snow in December was not a lot of fun, especially about 6:30 in the morning. So I set up working from home, front bedroom. I got broadband, as it was called, which was running at something, if I remember, something like 256k or something like that. It was, you knew that documents existed, but could you send them to someone? No, you couldn't. You had to get them through the post. Absolutely incredible. When I look back on it now, I remember when I worked for the reference library, seeing my first fax machine working. That was astonishing. When I got broadband at sufficient speed to cope with PDFs, I was out of my mind. It was absolutely incredible. But creating that website for the European Information Association set me on the road to creating websites, and I really enjoyed it. Started freelancing. I created some websites, quite a few, for the University of Leeds, because they had departments specializing in various aspects of EU affairs, EU legislation, EU policy, and so on. And I knew people there, and they asked me to create their departmental websites, which was a lot of fun. And then I think times got hard, and people stopped paying me to make websites, and the EU stuff had become all-consuming. I was doing writing, I was doing training, and websites really took a back seat for a while. Then Brexit happened. Really, my world just fell apart. Work just disappeared. And I was left wondering what to do, how to make a living. And I've done proofreading courses. I can proofread. I tell myself I can write copy, though I'm not great at it because I don't really sell. And the website seemed to be the obvious thing. So I started making websites and initially used desktop software and then discovered WordPress. And that changed my life. It's got a huge ecosystem. It's very flexible and people have heard about it. So there we go. That's how I transitioned from librarian to website designer. Boom, boom.
Fascinating.
So, Eric, you have made a pretty strong decision to go with WordPress, and also you have chosen Hostinger for most of your hosting. Can you tell us a little bit about why those two choices were made?
WordPress, because having had the experience of working with desktop software where I would create a website here on my PC and then upload it and no one but me could do anything with it, WordPress offered me the ability to basically use something in the cloud which clients could access. So if they wanted to, they could take over running their website. They could make edits, they could add things, they could delete things, whatever. They could play with the site, basically. In fairness, not a lot of them do that, which is good because they pay me to do it on an ongoing basis. But WordPress still powers about 40% of the world's websites, and lots of people have heard about WordPress. So that's a really good conversation starter. I call myself the WordPress website specialist. So yes, that's a conversation starter. Oh, you do WordPress. I tried WordPress. Oh, I struggled with it. Oh, did you? What was the problem? So it goes like that. But lots of people have heard about it, and they haven't heard about other things like Oxygen or something. They've heard about things like Wix, but oh dear. We can maybe come on to problems associated with these sorts of things later. But I find WordPress, I initially found it very hard work. It was an uphill struggle, and I would never, ever call myself expert in anything. But I do have a pretty good knowledge now of WordPress, and I like to think of myself as a sort of doodly dog with a bone. If there's a problem that needs fixing, I tend to just go at it and try and find a solution. Hostinger. When I first set up, I tried some website hosting people and found many of them just talk jargon. So when I wanted something doing, they'd say, "Oh, you need to do that blah, 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 blah." Sorry? No, the blah, blah, blah. So I had no idea what they were talking about. I also found that I was getting ripped off with prices. So I found Hostinger. It was one of these 4-year deals initially for, I don't know, about $2.50 or something. It was very cheap. Not quite that cheap, but it was very cheap. So I got into Hostinger, and I found them to be really, really good. They talk to me in language I understand. The back end of the website, the hosting side, provides access to all sorts of features which, in my experience, other website hosts either don't provide or they charge you to access. So if you want to change, sorry, a bit of jargon, the PHP version, then you have to pay to access that. I don't understand that. All this stuff is available on Hostinger, and I found them to be really, really good. They're not perfect. None of us are, but I recommend them. I keep getting bombarded with requests to promote them and so forth, which I do, but I never take any money for it. I don't have one of these little buttons on the website which gives me commission for recommending people to Hostinger. I don't like that. I want to recommend a business, whether it's Hostinger or something else, I want to recommend that to someone because I think it's good, not because I'm getting some sort of kickback. That, I suppose, is something else which maybe differentiates me a little from people. It means I'm poor because you can make a lot of money doing this, but I just don't like the idea of taking money for recommending things, because then I think your judgment is clouded. So there we go. Hostinger also, the UK computer centre, the server based in Manchester, runs on green energy, which I think is great. I really like that. Not all websites hosting services do. A lot of them do, but not all of them.
Their Paris plant is all
Yes.
sustainable energy as well.
Yeah.
The data
yeah.
center is
Yes.
as well. So.
What about the US? Or shouldn't we mention that, really?
Do they have a center in the U.S.?
I think so, yes. I'm pretty sure
Probably,
they do.
It's probably not sustainable. But
Oh, no, but there we go. Yeah, so Hostinger, WordPress. Yeah, marriage made in heaven.
excellent.
Nice.
With you as the pastor.
So Eric, you've got small businesses coming to you, and you probably see a lot of the same things over and over again. What are some of the common mistakes that you see small businesses making when they start their websites?
Oh, the biggest mistake is that they try to make their own website, the DIY approach. I'm not surprised the small business, and from small business, we're often talking about just individuals setting, like me, just in business by themselves. And they don't want to spend more money than they have to. They go to a website designer and he says, it'll be £2,500 for this website. And they think, oh, how much? And then they think it'll be cheaper to do it myself. And yes, it may well be cheaper. You're not paying money, but the chances are that you're also creating something which is absolutely awful and turning off prospective customers. So yes, the biggest mistake I think is going down the DIY route. If you're a speech therapist, you're an accountant, you're a painter and decorator, you do what you do. I might pay you for your accountancy services, for your painting and decorating services. I build websites. Pay me to build a website. Yes, I can do decorating. Oh dear, but you don't really want to see the result. When I come to sell this house, we'll probably have someone in to do it professionally, because otherwise any prospective buyers will just look at it and think, oh no, thank you very much. So stick at what you're good at, because the sort of issues that people who just come to websites and they see the Wix adverts, the Ionos adverts, Squarespace, and even WordPress, and it sounds, oh yes, you can do this so easily, but navigation, readability, poor images, file size, lack of white space. These are important things. Navigation. How do people find their way around your website? Is your menu at the top of the page sticky so that when you scroll down the page, does it stay in view? Even professionally made websites don't have that, and DIY sites invariably don't have it. And then they have this idea that all they need to do is put text on a page. But there's aspects to readability. So readability, is the text that you can see, does it make sense? So is it well written? Does it get over what you want your potential customers to know about your business? And can people actually physically read it? Having pale grey text on a light turquoise background in a fancy font, and I have seen a website like that. Someone said, I built this website. It's not working very well. Oh, let me have a look. And there we are. You can barely read it because they took the colours of their logo and they put them onto their website, not thinking that people have to read this. So yeah, navigation is important, readability, both aspects. Images, people just grab images, sometimes illegally. They see something on the internet, as they say. Oh, I like this. And they steal it. I fell out with the client. I no longer have this client because I realised that the electronic books he was publishing on his website contained images that and text actually. Basically, they were all stolen from other people. The images he had copied from other books and online sources, and the text he wrote very badly. And when I came to see the introduction to his latest book, I thought, ooh, that doesn't look very good. Let me just check some other things. And I went through, and there were 3 or 4 paragraphs I picked out which were really well written. And I copied them verbatim, stuck them into Google, and they belong to other people. So that's no way to create a website. You're breaking the law. He didn't understand, because he thought that if he'd used them in his publication, then that was okay because he had copyright to it. But no. So people find images on the interweb and they steal them. Not a good idea. They also perhaps make their own images, which can be very, very poor. I had someone, a budding author, send me something only yesterday. I'm creating just a one-page website for his new book. He sent me 3-4 images of himself. They are tiny, tiny, tiny things. They're about 140k, 150k in size. They need to be 3 meg. I need big things because I can work on them then. Otherwise, they're tiny things. On the other hand, people take these images and stick them on their website, and they're 2 or 3 meg each because they haven't been compressed. And you get a few of them on a page and you think it looks lovely, but it slows everything down. And then people give up looking because a slowish internet connection and big files to download is a bad combination. File size it can be a real issue for DIY people because they don't realize that sticking a video, images yes, but videos as well, on a website can mean that the thing just grinds to a halt. And something very basic in the design, a lack of white space. Spread things out. Give your content space to breathe. Don't feel that you've got to jam everything onto the first page. Yes, it's the home page, but there are other pages. So just put the important bit on the home page and have links to other bits. And when you do have content on the home page, put space around it, because it's much easier for us as human beings to read shorter sections, particularly us as human beings in this day and age, to read shorter sections of text, ideally broken up by images or space or whatever. That I still see a problem with readability where people just put huge paragraphs, very dense text onto a page. Why? No one's going to read it because people's attention spans have got to the stage where if you have more than a couple of sentences joined together, they don't want to know. So yes, DIY, not the best approach. And DIY, I say DIY hosting, no one. I grew up in an age where people did host websites at home on old computers and things. But now the tendency is to buy a domain name and they get a really cheap domain name, and they'll go with the hosting that the domain name provider offers, which is usually a bad idea because it's cheap, it's shared hosting, you're sharing with perhaps hundreds of people using the same server, and again, you're struggling to get your website up to speed. It's a bad idea. Cheap hosting can seem like a really great idea, but I offer really good quality hosting at a really reasonable price, as do other people. I'm not alone in doing that, but poor hosting can really let a website down. And again, amateurs doing it, DIY approaches, they just don't understand it.
I think you make it easy to take the ideas as a business owner and put them onto paper and give them life on the web. Instead of trying to do it all ourselves, you make that easy. You take a very hands-on, jargon-free approach. Why do you think that's important, and how do your clients respond?
I don't know that I set out to be jargon-free, but I've worked for quite a lot of organizations where jargon is just part of everyday conversation. And I know that other people use it. I've been in situations where I don't understand what someone's saying. There was a guy, I was at a network meeting recently, and he stood up and he said, I build websites, I use PHP and Laravel. And the audience just fell asleep. What? Hey, PHP and Laravel? Hey. And he didn't until virtually the point 3 minutes later where he sat down. He didn't actually say what were the benefits of using him as a website designer. It was just jargon. It was just tech talk. It doesn't do anyone any good. I had my car serviced yesterday. I want to be able to go to the garage and have them explain to me in words I understand what's wrong with my car. And they've got an old car, so there's lots of things wrong with it. And they can do that. And I like to offer that sort of service to my clients or prospective clients, myself in their shoes. There's no point in me trying to blind them with science. It doesn't do me any favour. They think I'm some sort of tech god. Who wants to do business with a tech god? You want to do business with someone who you can relate to. I had a conversation this morning with a speech therapist. She was put on to me by an organisation here in Wales that helps small businesses, and they thought her and me would be a good fit. And she phoned me, and we talked about the website, well, the business she wants to set up, and the website she's hoping to get funding for. And we were on the phone for 31 minutes, I think it was. And towards the end, she said, "Thank you so much. It's been really useful. You've told me lots of things I didn't know, and I didn't think the conversation would last this long." Why not? Because it's my job to help explain what you're going to need if you're going to have a website, and to help you see how that website can be put together at a price that is affordable and in a way that you're comfortable with. So I suggested ways of getting photographs. I suggested she wants to do bilingual English and Welsh text. So I suggested an organisation that can help with that free of charge. And it was great. I had a guy yesterday. It's been a good week for talking to people. Guy yesterday put onto me by a contact, not happy with his current website provider. They bought out the company that originally created his website, lost the password to his WordPress website so it can no longer be updated, offered to build him a new website for £1,600, but in something that isn't WordPress. And the guy is absolutely aghast. So they've lost access. They're charging me to build a new website because they've lost access, and he was beside himself. He didn't know what to. But basically, I said, he's already paid the money to them, and I said, if I were you, I'd stick with them, try and sort through the problems. Oh, email was another problem. They said they're a marketing company. They said, we don't do email. Sorry, you don't do email? What does that mean? So I said, go back to them, find out what they mean when they say they don't do email. But if you can, stick with them, because you've paid £1,600. I'll create you a new website at $750, but that's $750 you might not have to spend. And we had a conversation. Again, it was 20 or 30 minutes worth of conversation, swapping ideas, seeing what he came back to me today and said he's getting rid of that company. He's going to keep his current old website, even though it's dated and he can't do anything with it. And at some point in the coming months, he'll probably come back to me and we can have another conversation about updating it. But I think if you can't have these conversations with people on a friendly sort of basis, and don't see people simply as a way of making money. I think that's a really bad approach. I'm not a car salesman. I don't see someone walking onto the forecourt and see dollar signs or pound signs ringing. I see someone who needs help. And I think my background in customer service and local government things has helped me adopt a more service-oriented approach. I'll never be rich because I don't have that attitude to go out and make loads of money. But I do have an attitude that allows me to go out and offer help to people, and conversations can lead to all sorts of things. People I speak to might not take me up on my offer of a website, but they might recommend me to someone else. Oh, I know a guy. He was really easy to talk to. And I think that's great. So there we are.
Too.
I think that's also why we like working with you so
Yeah.
much, is that's the whole ethos of our company as well.
Yep.
We don't look at a client as, oh, we're going to go sell them something. It's, what is the problem you have? Let's try to find a way to help you with it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And that is always what we lead with. And as much as Tara doesn't like the idea, we're not going to be rich doing this. We all agree vehemently that it is about helping.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, Joe and I spent years in organizations where it got so frustrating watching a client struggle and knowing there were better ways for this to be
Yep.
done, but not having the power to fix it for
Yep.
them. Now we created a company to be able to go fix it for
Yes.
them.
Yeah.
So this is why we love working with you.
It's the feelings mutual, really, because you're really good clients. I was going to say you pay on
We
time.
weren't
you don't.
at the beginning.
You don't pay on time. You pay ahead of time, and that's even better. And you asked me, could I invoice you for some extra hours I spent in February or something? Oh, yes. So that's very kind. At the same time, the same week, a couple of days apart, someone said to me, they asked me to do some work, and they said, I hope you're not going to be invoicing for that. Sorry? Oh, of course I am. We reached an agreement. They had a figure in mind, and my figure was lower. But to think that I was going to do what they asked at no cost, without telling me, please do it at no cost, I was absolutely appalled. So yeah, I love you guys. You're great to work with. And yeah, you say, Tara, not at the beginning, but I was learning about you. You were learning about me. And we've come together. We've got something. Hopefully that now we've certainly got a relationship that works, and hopefully a website that works. And you know, we'll see where it goes. But I like to work with people that I like, and there's lots of people I would not want to work with, no matter how much they paid me.
See, that's why we pay you early, so you'll work with us.
Oh yes.
Well said.
But so one thing that you have not touched on, which I know has been really important to us, is that there are some compliance issues with websites, and you are very much on top of those. And I think hearing all of your history, which I didn't know before today, that explains why you are so detail-oriented about that and save customers future potential problems by making sure that they are compliant. So that is one thing that I know we value, but are there other things that you see as new upcoming needs for clients and websites?
What's coming down the line, as it were?
Right.
The big thing has got to be AI, hasn't it? Because AI is big everywhere. My fear is that people will try and do more of the DIY website design because they think they can get some bots or whatever to create it. They can go to ChatGPT. Oh, yeah, and they can do this. Hostinger offers an AI assisted website creation tool, but it's not. They say yes, give us some text and tell us what your business is about, and we'll create this website for you. And yes, I haven't tried it, and maybe it's wonderful, but somehow it's about getting to know the client, and the client understanding that they need to be known, ideally to another human being and not to some bot somewhere, because it's that relationship. Because when something goes wrong with a website, who do they then call on? And things will go wrong. Things do go wrong. I had a client 18 months ago now. Their website just disappeared. Boom! It just wasn't there. They went to it one morning and it wasn't there. So I can't remember, email or text or something. Where is it? So I wasn't quite sure what happened. It seems there was a clash between a couple of pieces of software which had basically downed the website. But because they're a client and they were paying me, I had it back up and running within an hour or two at no additional cost to them because they were paying me anyway. You get your website designed by some bot and then something like that happens, what do? Do you say to the bot, my website's gone down, can you put it back? Oh, they haven't got access to it. How do you give them access to it? I don't know how that would work. But I just think that the human connection is and will remain really, really important. I use AI to sketch out a blog that I do for a client, a monthly blog. They give me a topic and I basically run some ideas through the Microsoft AI generator thingy, and it comes up with ideas and I say yay, nay, and then I say that's great, give me 1,200 words on the basis of this outline. And then, in British English, sorry fellas, but in British English, And then I go through it and I edit it. And I find this client works in a medical related area. And I find one of the ways of making the blog stand out is to add references. So you add references to papers, to articles from other organizations. And that aids her credibility. And it also makes it quite clear that this has not just been generated by a bot somewhere. So yes, I use it. I use it sparingly. I've created some, oh, you might have seen them, the DoodlyDog superhero images. No spaniel was harmed in the production of those. I would never harm a spaniel, or any other dog, really, unless it attacked my spaniel. So yeah, AI is important. And that's the big thing to look out for. I just hope that people realize that there is more to a website than something on a screen, that it's about relationships as well.
Completely agreed.
So well said.
That's exactly what we're about too.
Yeah.
So Eric, I have good news for you. You've qualified for our bonus round. This is where we have our more than mere genius questions. Now you haven't seen these, right? So we know that there's 10 of them. They're all about you. And these are designed to be quick hits. First thing that comes to your mind, there's no right or wrong answer, but we'll jump right in. So outside of work, what's an activity that you're passionate about?
Wild camping in the mountains.
Anybody that follows you on LinkedIn would clearly know that, because you have beautiful photography out there.
Yes, I'm hoping to be out over the Easter weekend, but the forecast is for wind and rain, so maybe not. We'll see what happens.
Aw.
It's my birthday the week after, so maybe a birthday weekend out. That would be good. But yes, wild camping, my passion. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Name one book or podcast that has inspired you.
Book. Oh, heavens. A book that inspired me. I read a lot. Inspirational? Oh dear. I'm struggling to think of one. I've enjoyed. My other half bought. I don't usually do biography stuff, but Becoming by Michelle Obama, my other half bought it, and I thought it was fabulous. Really, really good. Wonderful lady, great story. And I found that inspirational. But I've also recently read something by a new author called Nesting, which is about coercion, domestic abuse, if you like, coercion. And I found that absolutely fascinating and, in a sense, inspirational, because it was a story about a lady bringing up 2 children, pregnant with a third, whose husband basically cut her off from everything. And I am an emotional person. I don't usually cry when I get to the end of a book, but I was choking back with tears when I got to the final page. And I thought that as a homage to women who put up with crap lives was really, really good. Yeah, I found that inspirational. Yeah.
See, your left brain, right brain.
And no brain half the time.
I wouldn't say that. But can you tell us about a mentor that has been important to you at some point in your life?
Mentor. A guy I worked with called Bob, who was a librarian, senior librarian, my manager, decades, probably 30 years ago now. And he taught me something about managing people. He was a supremely good people manager, people person. He knew how to understand people, knew what made people tick. I don't. I'm not necessarily great, but he taught me to try and step back and see things from the other person's perspective. What is it drives them? What motivates them? Why do they get up in the morning? What do they like about their job? What do they like? How can you get the best out of someone? And I think I probably kept some of that through the years. But yes, Bob, haven't thought of him for decades. But yes, thank you for reminding me.
Nice. Which talent that you do not have would you most like to have?
I'd like to be able to make things out of wood. My father was a woodwork teacher and metalwork teacher. I have absolutely none of his skills. I have some of his furniture. And to be able to make something out of wood, I think would be absolutely wonderful. I would also like to be able to speak Welsh, siarad Cymraeg. I've tried again and again. My other half is now getting pretty good at it. So when we have a holiday in a fortnight, we'll be away for 2 weeks and we will be practicing our Welsh. But yes, woodworking in Welsh, that would be good.
That's a tough combination, but sure. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
The Llyn Peninsula, where we're going on holiday. It's a beautiful part of Wales. The language is still spoken by many. It has hills, it has ancient hill forts, it has coastline, a climate, a microclimate all its own, and you can see the mountains that I love on the mainland, as it were. So yes, Llyn Peninsula. If I could, I would move there. But then so would lots of other people. So, which is why the house prices are out of our reach.
Understand that.
Yeah.
Sorry if that's boring. If it was supposed to be California
Not at
or
all.
Australia or...
No.
Not at all.
We love
Tara and
Wales.
I share a lot of
so and every time you post a picture, it's like, oh gosh, I can't wait to be back home. So, yeah. So keep going, and obviously you need to speak Welsh to keep up with the grandchild, right? Doesn't she speak?
Oh,
predominantly?
Airy. So, Airy. So, I have twin sons plus an older lad, but the older twin, Adam, married a Welsh speaker from Marn, Anglesey. Her family has lived in the village of Llanfire PG, just over the bridge, for generations. Fionn teaches Welsh and German. She also speaks some Spanish. Oh, and English as well. She's pretty good at English. And Airy is being brought up, and initially I found it really difficult. Airy is 3.5 now, and it was hard going at first. It often is with young children, because it was all Welsh and it was difficult to understand what she said. She came here 2 weeks ago, and she is essentially bilingual now. At one point, I was in the garden filling a bird bath, and she said, so the Welsh for grandfather is Tide. She said, "Tide, Eric, what are you doing?" So in English. And I was absolutely flabbergasted. She is 3.5 years old. She is bilingual. She's probably going to end up being at least trilingual, because she will learn German for free, I'm sure. And she's absolutely wonderful. And Adam now is also, I think he's fluent in Welsh. He says he isn't, but he wanted to be Welsh. He wanted to be born in Wales, but his mum wanted him to be born in England, in Chester. So you can't argue with a woman who's going to give birth. She decides where she's going to give birth. But he would have loved to be Welsh, and now he feels more Welsh. He lives on Ynys Môn, a Welsh-speaking family, and is bringing up a Welsh-speaking daughter. Absolutely fabulous. Can't believe his luck.
That's lovely.
Was that a question?
No, that
Was that number 10?
No, so what profession other than yours would you love to try?
I would like to be an interpreter. I would like to be able to speak other languages and help people understand each other. I think that must be absolutely fabulous.
That's really
Wow.
beautiful, actually, but sure.
So who is your favorite superhero?
Don't have superheroes. Don't do superheroes. I actually don't have heroes, because I think everyone is flawed. And I think if you stand someone on a pedestal, then the moment they do something you don't like, then it's gone. I have people I admire, which is different, but people I admire, there's a guy, I like mountain running. There's a guy who won Ras Erwyddfa, so you run up this mountain called Erwyddfa, Snowdon. You run up it and down it. I'm doing it again in July for the 15th time, but it's an international race, so there's teams from, say, all over the world. There's the British Isles plus Italy, I think it is. But there are elite runners in there. And this guy won it 5 or 6 times. His name is Andy Jones, and he'd be my idea of a hero. People who do good things for the environment. A guy who broadcasts on Welsh telly, or sometimes on English language telly as well, called Yola Williams. My heroes, I don't have superheroes. My heroes are people I admire for what they do. I dislike the idea of a sort of all-conquering, whatevering superhero thing. I'm not religious.
Except for a retriever. That's a superhero.
If you're going to get picky, then I'm going to leave. Superhero Benj is a complete figment of my imagination. I'm old enough to understand that. But yes, I have no understanding of people's relationship with these superhero characters. I don't do it. I'm not attracted to them. I can't understand people who are. It's like people who do this cosplay thing. They dress up as Lord of the Rings characters or something. Why? They live their lives in these. Oh, sorry, I'm not. That's not for me. Sorry.
No worries. So, what is your favorite sound?
Blackbird singing.
That's excellent. I love birds too. What is your favorite song when you're stressed or you need a lift?
It's probably Born to Run. I love Springsteen, and Born to Run was the first Springsteen song that I remember hearing. It's the one that got me into Springsteen. I don't listen to music very much nowadays. I don't know if it's because my old brain can't cope with working and doing other things and listening. But my kids also grew up loving Springsteen. In fact, they're going to see Springsteen in Liverpool in June, I think it's June, and didn't buy me a ticket. So I'm not going.
The horror. Disown
but-
them.
Probably have Born to Run, which is probably going to be played at my funeral, just because it's upbeat and it's.
And you were born to run. in
Yeah, well,
mountains,
twice, yes. If it
so,
wasn't for
yeah.
bad knees, I'd still be. I do run, just not as much as I'd like. But yeah, there we go.
So
I don't know if you knew this, but Joe is the mayor of a town in New Jersey, where Springsteen.
Well,
There's some-
I thought you brought that up because you saw the map in Jersey behind me.
I know.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. I hadn't taken that in. Wow. So
It's a very small world.
Bruce is a friend of yours?
Yeah, we
America's a small
Pretty much
place. I
everybody in New
know.
Jersey.
You're American. Bruce is American. You must know him. That's how
sure.
it works, isn't it? Oh, you're from England. Do you know? So
Yeah.
sorry.
right.
Exactly.
But if we're gonna tell
Are you a
Bruce stories,
Springsteen fan?
Yes, you have to be, or they'll throw you out of the state.
yeah.
I was going to say, you can't get elected in New Jersey if you're not.
Wow. Gosh.
When we
Oh.
first moved to Ireland, the barber in our little village was a big Bruce Springsteen fan, and he actually was a little bit stalker-esque.
Stalker.
And he became, anytime Bruce was in Ireland, he was the one who would go and cut his hair. So he actually, and he got Bruce an Irish passport, and like it was a whole thing. So Paul's
Wow.
had his hair cut by when he had hair.
I have.
Now
When I
yeah,
had
when
hair,
I had hair.
it was a good thing to do.
That
Yeah.
was 10 years
Wow.
ago. It's all
Gosh.
gone downhill.
I know the feeling.
6 degrees of Bruce Springsteen,
Yeah.
something like that.
There you go.
So
Gosh.
All right. Eric, we have one last question for you, and it's our favorite one. What is the one thing you most want to be known for after you are gone?
I suppose being kind, really. If people think of me as someone who was kind, yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
That's
My
wonderful.
other half thinks I'm kind. I like that. Kind is a strange sort of word, but I can't think of anything better, really. But yeah, someone who's kind. I give to charity. I support lots of charities. I worry about the environment. I worry about all sorts of things, about refugees and animals, and oh God, I worry. That's why I've got no hair. Not because Bruce Springsteen's barber did a bad job on me, but no. So someone
Well,
who was
I think
kind.
you've
I
been very
suppose.
kind to us.
Ah.
I think you've been very kind to us, so we appreciate
kind
it very
and
much.
patient, both definitely. Two
No, it's
words
been
for
fun.
you,
You were
so.
you were right about that, Paul. It's been fun. 50
Excellent.
minutes worth.
I
So
know,
when
see?
it goes out, it'll be 2.5 minutes, will it?
It might be a little bit more than
Okay,
that. But
3.
thank you so much for joining us. This was such a great conversation. And I think it really does show off why we love working with you, but also why you're so good at what you do and why you care about the people you work with and how important that is. So thank you so much for joining us.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. Really appreciate the opportunity. I'm now a podcast star. I
There
could be
you
a superhero, could I? Does that qualify me as a
We'll
superhero?
call you Podcaster Man.
Oh yes.
Or
Wait until
Podcast
Jackie.
Boss.
Wait until Jackie gets home. She'll be over the moon. Podcaster Man, I love you.
We'll send you a cape.
There
A
we
cake.
go. There
A
we go.
cake.
No, a cape.
Oh,
Cape.
okay.
So that brings us to the end of today's conversation. Thank you for joining us. If today's discussion resonated with you, please consider giving us a 5-star review. Your feedback not only supports our show, but also helps others find us. Thank you so much for listening to MTMG's IT Roundtable. We look forward to bringing you more conversations soon. Until then, take care, and know our team is always here to help. Sláinte
MTMG, guidance that empowers.